In this video, I'm sharing my favorite tools and why you will love them too. Stay tuned. When it comes to any paper crafting, your paper tools are so important. I've had so many tools. I've gone through so many paper trimmers in the last few years. It's been really frustrating. But now I've got the paper trimmer that I love, and it's all because of these tools that I've had before. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about Creative Memories, and anyone who has ever scrapbooked has probably heard of Creative Memories. They were one of the originals. They have fantastic tools. They have their own albums, and you could have creative memory parties and all that stuff, but their tools have always been amazing. So when I first started scrapbooking, I had the original one of this. It's called the personal trimmer, which sounds like some sort of razor, but it's not. It's a paper trimmer, and I still have the original. It just sort of died recently. I'll tell you the story in a second. But I've had it for probably close to 20 years. That makes me feel really old, but it's old too, so I guess that's fine. Anyway, I'm going to sort of review each of these and give you my take on why I love these products and why I think if you're in the market for a new trimmer or something smaller or even a circle punch, then you really should consider Creative Memories. Let's start with the personal trimmer, because I think for most planner girls, this will be all that you need. As long as your planner pages or whatever you're cutting is less than 7 inches. I'm going to show you the old one that I have and sort of compare them. Now, this one got violently knocked off of a desk, and so that's why it's broken. But other than that, it's still super sharp. Everything else works fine, and I absolutely loved it right up until its demise. Basically, they're the same thing. There's a few updates to this one, and I'll go through them as I tell you all of the good things about this trimmer. But basically, it's just an updated version. There's not a lot of improvements because there wasn't really much to improve on. Okay, so let's just use this. I should probably also say before I start that this video is not sponsored. All these products I've bought with my own money, and I am in no way affiliated with Creative Memories. I'm not a consultant. I just happen to like their tools, and I think that you will probably like them too. Okay, so the only real difference I see between this one and the other one, besides the color, is that it's a bit sleeker, it's a bit more modern, and it has the measurements in centimeters, which is great for us outside of the US. So this is a guillotine trimmer. All you need to do is put the paper in, line it up to the measurement you want, and cut. It's so easy, it's so simple. You can line up your paper. Let's say you want to go along that line. You can line up your paper anywhere actually along the blade, and if you line up whatever line you want to cut with the line of this like protective arm, I don't know what that's called, you will get it cut exactly along that line. This lines up exactly with the blade. This can pop out and go back in, but I find it's one of its best features because it enables you to have the cut where you want it. You can line it up anywhere on the blade to make sure you get like a parallel cut. It's fantastic. Plus that one, the old one, it's still really sharp and still cuts fantastic. I wish I could show you, but it's broken, so I can't. It has a little bit of a rubber thing here, I guess for a grip. It has a drawer. The other one had a drawer as well. And I think because it has a drawer, it's sturdier. The weight is evenly balanced. Maybe a little bit heavier on this side, but you don't really notice it. It's really thick. It has little rubber stoppers on the bottom, and it's a sturdy trimmer. It just feels strong, and it really is. Like that one lasted almost 20 years, and it's still really sturdy. The only reason I got this new one is because my son broke the other one. This grid here, not only is it great for helping you line up your cuts, it's also a cutting mat. You can cut right here on the trimmer with your knife. There's also a little ruler up here, but that one is only in inches, whereas you have the centimeters here and here. So I guess that's basically it for this one. I absolutely love it. The only thing is, it only goes up to not even 7 inches. So if the pages you're trimming are bigger, you're going to want to use the 12-inch. It doesn't cut a lot of pages at once. Let's see. Let's try 3. I think it'll cut 3 pieces of cardstock. Yeah, it was kind of suffering. 3 is probably its limit, 3 or 4. Of course, if it's just computer paper, you're going to be able to cut more. I wouldn't say that these are a good idea if you're making a whole bunch of inserts all the time, but if it's just every once in a while or for your own personal use, I think this is plenty. It's just what you need. After my old one broke, but before I decided to buy this one, and I'll tell you why I didn't buy this one in the first place in a second, I bought a We Are Memory Keepers trimmer, and it's a little bigger. Actually, it's quite a lot bigger. It goes up to more than 8 inches, but I don't like it. It just feels flimsy because this side's heavier and this side's light. It has the rubber stoppers, but it doesn't have a drawer, so there's nothing to solidify it and make it sturdy and strong. I found that this didn't always cut well. It moved away from the blades, because the way it works is there's a blade here and there's a blade here, and they scrape together and cut. But I found that this one would pull away really easily from each other. Another thing which is really annoying is that this little arm thing has a lip that lifts up and it clouds your view. So if you want to cut out something and you wanted to use the line as your guide, you can't really see, especially on this side, if it's lined up. So what you have to do is you have to line up the bottom with the edge of the blade, and then you have to line up the top with the edge of the blade, making sure that this one's still lined up, and then it's still really hard to get a good cut. I think you can see that there's a little bit of green that came off. So I was having a lot of trouble getting the cut that I wanted. Plus this is really weird and flimsy, and I just felt that the whole thing was a bit flimsy and cheap and didn't live up to the We Are Memory Keepers quality that I was used to. Plus you have 1/8, 1/4, 3/8. I just found that's a bit cluttered. You know basically where those are. I don't think they need to be labeled on there. Plus the centimeters are all the way down at the bottom, and there's nothing here for you to, if you have, this is another thing with this one that I forgot to mention. You can line up your page at the top of this little ridge so that you're going to make sure you're getting a perfect 90 degree angle, which this one does have. But if you're going to use the centimeters and you have this little tiny piece of paper, okay, I need 9 centimeters. One, there's no line going up for the 9 centimeters, and then there's no way for you to make it a perfect 90 degree angle. So you might as well just not have the centimeters, just basically a ruler. Plus I don't know if this is a cutting mat. It's kind of slick. I suppose you could cut on it, but this one is more of a rubbery cutting mat that I prefer. Not that I cut on it a lot. I do have this little one that I use when I do need to cut something usually, but I don't know. It just disappointed me. So that's why I turned to Creative Memories, and I said, how can I get one? Because they're really not easy to get if you don't live in the States. And I'm going to still talk about that in a bit, but I wanted to go through all of the reviews first. Okay, next up, let's go right to the 12-inch. So if you are cutting big pieces of paper, this is the trimmer that you want. This is amazing. I absolutely love it. I've been looking for a trimmer forever. I would buy Fisker after Fisker and just be frustrated beyond belief. And now this one is amazing. Okay, so let's go through it. Cuts 12 inches. The only problem I would say is there's a ridge here on the bottom, which is good because then you can measure on both sides. But if you have a piece of paper that is a bit larger than 12, because oftentimes scrapbook paper will be 12 inches, but then they have this strip with the code and the price and all that stuff. So that is longer than 12 inches. Okay, I'm going to turn it so you can see better. So if I want to cut this piece of paper that's just longer than 12 inches, it doesn't fit within the ridge. Of course, I'm not too concerned about this. I can always squish it down with the arm, and it's going to get wrinkled a bit. Of course, I could trim it off first. I could trim this part off first, but honestly, I don't like doing that because it's another step and I'm a little bit lazy. But also, I like to keep the brand names. If I'm promoting it or I need it for some other reason, I can have that on the paper if I have to. If I have to give a list of supplies. But otherwise, this thing is perfect. This is a little rubber cutting mat, and it actually comes out super easy, and you can buy replacements once it gets used up. It has lots of different graphs and things, so you can measure a 4x6 card, or if you have 5x7, anything that you do on a regular basis. You can also pencil in your own. It has an extended arm. It's quite long. It goes out to 16 inches or 41 centimeters, which I think is the longest that I've ever seen. It is incredibly sturdy. It's got some weight to it. It has little pads on the bottom, and it really is strong and sturdy, and I think it's going to last. The blade is simple. You just open this up, you pop this baby out, and you change it in. And when you push down on it, the blade will come out of the little slot. They do have different blades if you want to perforate something, or there's all kinds of different ways. All you need to do is just slide it in that little slot and you're good to go. if you look here, it has a little arrow, and that arrow will show you all the way down your paper where it's going to cut. Put your paper in, snap it in tight. You can move this and see where it's going to cut with that arrow. There's one on the other side as well. Also, you have a cutting line. It's the first cutting line, the one on the left. You can see the arrow is lined up with it, and that's where it's going to cut. So it's super easy to know that you are getting the cut that you need, the cut that you want on the line. When you do cut, the blade never wobbles. The only thing that's wobbling here is this like little plastic case on the top. It stays on the line the whole time. And you can cut up and you can cut down. So it's fantastic. There's also inches and centimeters both at the top and at the bottom. So you can measure whatever you need. Let's compare it to what I was cutting with. This is what I had been using. Okay, so they're basically the same size. This has these rubber things to keep it stable on the table, and it has an arm. It goes out to 32 centimeters and 12.5 inches about. The problem with this, though, is it's actually pretty sturdy. It's not too bad. There's a couple problems with this. The first one being, and you can almost see, you can see where the line is. This actually comes out as well, and you can change that or flip it around. That's why I think it has two lines, because you can flip that around. I just realized that now. But there's a lot of offcuts, and it would rarely cut straight. And that's because this thing will flip up to be replaced. So you'd pull out the blade and you replace the blade. Of course, the other one is a lot more secure because you cannot ever touch the blade. It's just super simple to change. And then you have to push it down to cut. And all that wear and tear, it's held on by a pin that allows it to hinge up and down. I found that the little pin, way before anything else goes, the pin goes, and so this wobbles. You can see, even with the pin in there solidly, that I have quite a lot of wiggle room. So that means my cut can be a millimeter or two off in either direction. I'm just going to show you how unstraight this can cut. Let me see if I can find it. I'm just going to cut normal. And then I'm going to show you how unstraight that is. So I've got it right on the line of the 7 here, but down here, it's about a millimeter or two off. Let me show you on the other one. So I'm going to put it here along the 2-inch, because there's a line so you can see. I'm going to put it right on the line. So it's right on the 2. It goes along the line, and then it just goes off, and it's about 2 millimeters off. And that just makes a crooked line. Whereas here, I'm going to get a straight line every time. You can see it even clearer here. You have it, it's on the left, it's underneath the 1, and then it goes up over. So it was such a crooked line. But this one, put it right on the 2, and you can see it's perfectly straight. I love this. Can you tell? Can you tell I love it? Yeah. Okay, just one more thing with the Fiskars. You'd think that it would cut straight because you have 2 arms to hold it, one to hold the paper, and you have this ridge to this little thing to hold, and then you can line up your paper where you want to cut along this ridge of the plastic, and then you put the arm gap. But with that loose blade, it just didn't work. Next up is the scissors. Now, I don't find there's anything different between these and the Fiskars yet, probably because I haven't had a chance to use them much. I did have Creative Memories ones years ago, but I think I broke them. I don't know where they went. I don't know if I really can compare them to the Fiskars ones because my boys will steal them and use them for hockey tape. So I'm trying to keep these hidden so that no one will steal them and use them for other things. Next up is their punches. I just grabbed this one randomly, but I have a bunch of them. They're super easy to use. This one has 2 different sizes of circles. I have the other one which has 2 more sizes of circles. This is ancient. It's probably at least 12, 15 years old, and it still works. Just like everything else, they have all kinds of shapes and borders and anything you want. If you are in the market for a punch, then I would check out the punches on their website. On to the corner rounder. Now, I've got a lot of questions in my videos what corner rounder I'm using. This is the one that I've been using. I've been using this one since I started scrapbooking. I've never gotten another one, and it still works perfectly fine. But I wanted to get a new one to see if it worked just as well as this one, and it does. It's fantastic. It's really strong, really sturdy. There's a little, like a rubber flap here. You can get all the little corners out when it's time to throw them away. It's basically the same identical thing except for the color, and this is a little bit fatter. I guess it's a little more modern. And on that note, let's move on to the giveaway. So I bought another one. especially to give away. So all you need to do to win this corner rounder is to subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below, and also follow me on Instagram. I will choose someone this coming weekend and I will announce the winner in next week's video. And you can leave any comment you want. You can just leave an emoji. It doesn't matter. I will put a question in the comments section and I'll pin it to the top so you can answer that question if you want, whatever you'd like to do. And then follow me over on Instagram. That link will be below as well. And good luck, because it's a really good corner rounder. Okay, so now on to ordering. And this is the part that I'm kind of sad about, because Creative Memories, if there's one thing that drives me crazy, it's that they don't realize that the rest of the world exists. So if you live in the States, I'm so happy for you. You can go and order any of these things you want online at Creative Memories. Canada as well, you're pretty lucky. But if you live overseas, I think there's a few select countries, maybe Australia, the UK. The UK site is a little iffy. I don't really remember, but I remember it not being very professional looking. And it's not a Creative Memories site. It is someone else who sells Creative Memories. So I live in Luxembourg. How did I get these things? When I went to Canada, I ordered all these things and got them sent to my sister's house so I could have them. So I'm really sorry to all my European friends and everyone else in the world who doesn't have a store. But if you can find a way to get them and you really like these, I would jump on the opportunity because they really are fantastic tools. If you do live outside of where they sell Creative Memories, I would send an email. If all of you send an email or something to Creative Memories, then I think they might be more apt to open an international store, or at least provide international shipping. Up next week, I have a little surprise for you. I am going to help you all this fall get prepared for Christmas so that you can actually enjoy the day. Okay, don't get scared. I know Christmas, it's September. What are you talking about Christmas for? Don't worry, I'm not making you decorate your house or get your tree or anything yet. All I want you to do is to think about it. And of course, don't forget to come back to find out if you won the corner rounder. Okay, in the meantime, you can watch one of these 2 videos here, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you can click on my little face. Have a fantastic day and happy planning.